Welcome to The Localist, a podcast where we talk about the highs and lows of building community through entrepreneurship. I'm your host, author of the Localist book and small business consultant, Carrie Rollwagen. The Localist is sponsored by Infomedia. Infomedia is a digital strategy company where I work as senior vice president. At Infomedia, we help small businesses get big results online. Our guest today is Dan Atchison. So Dan is currently a department chair at Highlands College. I actually knew him sort of way back in the day when he was working in video and I was writing. But I wanted to have him on today because he's just launched an app to the App Store called Tend. So it's actually Tend with a little plus sign if you're looking for the app. But I find this app really useful and fascinating. I actually use it myself, and that's why I had him come on. The purpose of the app is to help you tend to the relationships that you already have. So after you download the app, you go into your address book and you select the people that you want to keep in touch with that you don't always remember to keep in touch with. And then in the app, you can choose the frequency you want to connect with them on. So maybe it's once a month or once a quarter or once a year. You choose that. And then every day when you open up your Tend app, it kind of prompts you to do a few different people. You can swipe up to text them and say hi, like just check in, how are you? You can swipe down if you want to move it to another day or ignore it. It is so useful to me because there are so many people in my life that mean a lot to me that I care about so much, but if they're not coming up on my social media or I'm not seeing them every day, they don't always come to mind. So I'll talk a little bit about how this has actually been useful in my life, but I actually love the app itself. And so for one thing, I wanted to share it with everybody. But I also wanted to have Dan on because he launched this app, but he's not a developer and he didn't use a developer. He actually used vibe coding, which we'll get into later, but I think you probably heard the term before. But this really makes something like developing an app accessible to people who don't necessarily know how to code. It also makes it accessible to so many small businesses because before it used to cost $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 to produce an app. And now with AI, that's a lot more in reach. So with Dan, we're going to talk about how that process actually works, what has been good about it, what has been tricky about it, and how to make it actually work for you if you're interested in that. I'm so excited about this conversation, really on multiple levels, and I hope you enjoy it too. Welcome to the podcast.
I'm glad to be here. This is fun.
Well, as you know, I'm actually a huge fan of your app, but for people who are listening, I want you to explain what it is, and then I'll jump in and say why I love it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it was anything like that. You're trying to solve a problem for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And so the impetus of the app, first I'll tell you what it is. It basically is our devices distract us. I mean, if you look at the amount of screen time, and I'm not going to be the old curmudgeon that's just like everybody's on their phone at dinner, right? But I think we're more aware of it than we used to be. Mm-hmm. And so the whole idea was how could you use, instead of it being a distraction, it actually just being an app. And there are others out there, but I was trying to solve a problem for myself. Mm-hmm. So it was basically, how do I turn this app not into a distraction, but to actually prompt real life interactions, whether through digital, just texting somebody. Yeah, I mean, I think we have so much going on in our world. I think our intent is that we want to reach out. We want to be a good friend. We want to be a good, a good son, a good brother, a good coworker, whatever it is. And so I just said, I got to have a way to systematize the people that actually matter. And when I started counting, there were a ton of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I'll tell you real quick what happened was I had a job change. Mm-hmm. So I went from being a pastor at a campus where I saw people, and we were talking earlier before the pod. It's like I've lived 9 lives, Carrie, right? So it's like I've got this world and then this world, right? But I moved over into higher education. Mm-hmm. So the proximity of seeing people week in and week out went away. Mm-hmm. And it was about a month in I realized, I haven't really talked to James in a bit. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't even just the role that I played in that role in his life. It's like he was a friend, just genuinely cared about him. Life happens and job changes and stuff. And so I thought over Christmas, I got bored, I guess, and just said, I wonder if I can just build an app. And so I just started vibe coding.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. And then I shelved it. And I was like, why am I doing this? This is too hard. So
I feel like we
stuff.
have that in common.
Oh, yeah.
Like our friends and family are like, can you stop?
Yeah.
Like
Always.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, I can do this. Let's play with this.
Yeah,
Actually,
yeah.
I was in grad school. One of the guys in the cohort that I was in, he was the vice president of innovation at the university, and he was talking about the speed at which you can iterate. You can go from idea. He's like, well, you can build an app right now.
Yeah.
And so that was months later at Christmas. I thought, I'm just going to give this a shot, and so I did. And so now we have an app on the App Store. It's only on the Apple Store. I haven't worked to do the Android thing yet. Sorry, Android users. Yeah. Are you a green text person or?
I'm an
person.
Apple person,
Yeah,
so
blue
I mean, I
text,
guess it
the way it
depends
should
on who I'm texting.
Yeah. We think it's politics that divides the nation. It's not. It's the color of text. Yeah.
That's true. Well, that's always been a challenge for anybody developing an app, and something that I think as users we don't necessarily understand is like it actually you have to do it twice.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that is part of the interesting thing about getting into the app world without the background, I guess.
Yeah.
Like you probably knew that, but
I mean, I've always been kind of tech forward and early adopter. I don't
Yeah.
know if anybody it depends on the age out there. An Apple Newton. Do you know what an Apple Newton is?
I am familiar, but I haven't ever.
I mean, I had one of the first Apple Newtons. So I mean, that'll tell you number one how old I am. Number two, just an early adopter. So tech forward is always kind of been a thing.
I still have one of my old iPods because when they acted as a hard drive, I actually have stuff on it as a hard drive.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you're like, what is the old cable? Like how do I plug it in now? It's like all of the connectors have changed.
Yeah.
So I've always kind of been a little bit tech forward, and of course with AI, and depending on where you sit with AI, and that's a whole different conversation.
Yeah.
I have a lot of thoughts on that. Oddly enough, so much has changed since I built the app back in December.
Yeah.
And then put it down for about 8 weeks. I just got busy.
Yeah.
I was learning a new rhythm as a department chair, building courses and being with students, which I absolutely love. I mean, it's so much fun. And it actually has helped on that front too. Stay connected to the students, remember birthdays, and just kind of put some stuff in there. And then I said, I need to finish this. I need to ship it, which has always kind of been a little bit of a thing for me. You want it so refined and you want to get it polished and perfect. And it's like the whole Seth Godin thing. Yeah. Just ship it, man.
Yeah.
And so just put it out there.
The minimum viable product.
That's it. Well, yes.
Ish.
It grew, though. Like it was one of those things, you start tinkering with it. You start having fun. You're like, I wonder if I can make it do this. And then you know how it is in your world, scope creep, where it just starts doing this because you don't, it's like, oh, I wanted to do this. Yeah. And so continued to do that, and then finally just said, I gotta abandon this. It's like a book or a movie. Yeah. It's never finished. You just have to abandon it and say, okay, it's time.
Well, and I think that even digital products, they are like a book and movie in that case, but in a different way, they're not, because you can keep iterating on them.
Yes.
Like that has been interesting to me about working in websites and digital marketing so much, because I came from traditional publishing where it's just like, it's out there and you can't change it. Right. And a website or an app or whatever, you're like, oh, I spelled that wrong. I'll fix it. I'll launch,
Right now, just new iteration.
Yeah, exactly. So it is a weird, and we have so many clients at Infomedia that we have to work with on that, because they're like, I want to get everything perfect. Right. It's like, you can't do that. You just got to push it. And then you find like this department's frustrated, this image isn't the best, whatever. Right. So really, you kind of, the launch is a little bit the soft launch. Yeah. Did you have that soft launch, or did you, when you pushed it, were you like immediately on, like I saw it on LinkedIn, you were like, go download my app, check it out?
I think I was on build 132 when I actually sent it to the App Store. I mean, it was just like, but part of that was also the learning curve, because even though you're vibe coding, and because I'm not a coder at all, it was just like, I wonder if I can do this, and I learned a lot in the process. I started with one platform, and then...
Can you tell us, or do you know?
Yeah, I can.
Because this is, I really do.
I mean, if it doesn't matter, it was famous.ai.
Yeah. Okay.
And the reason why I chose it is because it was like, we'll push it to the App Store and go through the whole process. And I literally had no clue. Yeah. It'll push it to the App Store. Yeah. Well, funny story, they have these subscriptions. Well, I'm just cooking. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah. $20 for the month to let's just go. And I'm cooking. And then all of a sudden it was like, it didn't say this, but I got an email basically saying, it's in AppGL, you owe us $500.
Oh my gosh.
But there was never like a meter saying, oh, you've run out of tokens and now you're kind of accruing the thing. Yeah. And thankfully, they were kind enough. I sent an email. I said, number one, I'm not paying this. You can just keep the app. It's one of those things. And they're like, well, okay. So they refunded all of that. And I was like, download the code. And then I started just cooking in Claude. Yeah. And then never kind of went back to Famous.ai. There are some other platforms out there, Base 44 and Lovable.
Okay.
But again, like I said, so much has changed. But I started in Famous.ai, pulled the code down, and then just kept saying, can we do this? Can we do that?
Well, to kind of explain to people what vibe coding is, because I know we have a lot of small business owners who have heard of it. Would you say this is correct? It's kind of like, it's somebody, you can speak in English to the AI, and it kind of interprets it as code.
Yes.
And then you can kind of see what's being created and be like, oh, I didn't want this, I wanted this other thing.
Yeah.
But where before, so like at Infomedia, we have developers. I like to joke that I have been vibe coding for years. I've just been using real dev.
Yes.
Like I'm sitting next to a dev.
Right.
They code something. I'm like, I don't love it. Like, can we make a little more space, a little more whatever? Which is not what they want you to do anyway. But so that it's kind of like that. But instead of sitting next to a developer and explaining, that's not exactly what I wanted.
That's right.
You're just explaining it to an AI like Claude.
And it never needs a break or never has to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And sometimes it'll fight you. Sometimes it'll push back and say, and you actually wanted to do that?
Yeah.
I'm squarely on Anthropic. Now, there's something new coming out every single month. But I have found that Claude Code specifically, but then there's, again, so much other stuff. But yeah, vibe coding. I don't know if I have a good definition. I still am a little bit, sometimes like explain it to me like I'm a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
I kind of just stumbled my way and faked my way through this whole thing.
I mean, it's vibes.
But again, I was just trying. That's right.
The thing.
It is. I was just trying to solve a problem for me.
Yeah.
Here's what I did learn. Don't start with the coding. So like if you're a small business owner and you have a problem you're trying to solve.
Yeah.
Work the problem. It's the whole adage, a problem well defined is a problem half solved. So if you go straight to the coding, you're going to have to do a lot of backward stuff.
Yeah.
That is one thing that I did right from the beginning. Was I just worked in just a chat and I said, I have an idea. Here's the problem I'm trying to solve. I want to do this.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to do this and literally worked for hours creating a document. And then I said, now I need you to create the document like I was handing it to an app developer. And then I basically just handed it back to Claude in a different tab.
That is something I think that people who haven't worked a ton with AI except as just chatting don't understand, because it is weird. Like, because I'm looking at it and I'm like, well, you're all Claude. You should understand. Right. But I'm like, no, I'm in co-work. And then I'm saying like, okay, I need you to explain this to Claude Code. Or even I'll say, I am going to start another skill in co-work. Right. And I need you to write up whatever we talked about in this chat, then I need to like connect to that other one. So it is a little bit of,
you're like, you should know.
Yeah.
And sometimes it'll it's still, I mean, it's not perfect. It's still early, honestly, in the whole.
Which is the funny thing to me is I'll be doing something and then I'll throw up an error. And then I'll just copy the error and say like, hey, this error just happened. It's like, oh, let me fix it. Right. And I'm like, you didn't know that?
You didn't know you were talking to yourself? You didn't think I was just going to copy and paste it?
Well, it's because also we're not devs, like, so we're not approaching it like, I think it's difficult because we approach it like it's human, because in so many ways it does interact like it's human. And so we're expecting it to act like a human, but it isn't. So it's like, that's not actually how it works.
And then you want to yell at it. And then I'm thinking, I should probably be more kind to the bots, because one day they're going to take over and they're going to remember.
Well, and
it's just like please and thank you is just good to get in the habit of.
I always feel like that is, I think the habit is where it is.
That's right.
Like, I'm not sure we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I heard a news story yesterday where somebody was, I think it was somebody pretty high up at Anthropic, and he was like, well, we're afraid that the AIs are going to read the science fiction and then get the idea of rising up from the science fiction about them rising up.
It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy, like the Matrix is the thing that kind of,
But the way I look at it, because I get weirded out when I'm like, oh, I'm treating it like it's human, but I want to stay in the practice of treating humans like that. Yes. So I don't want to be out of practice of just saying
it's not
thank
even
you.
It's not what it does to the tech, it's what it does in here.
Right, yeah.
But my wife, she's hilarious because we have Alexa everywhere in the house, and she's just like hates it. She's not on any social media. She's like, we should just get rid of all of it. I'm just like, give them your social security number, man. They already got it. Who cares? Just like, I'm in.
I know. I feel like they always have that, like in every relationship, there's a person who will eat leftovers and who won't. I feel like
Right.
there's always like an
Yes.
AI evangelist and a
Yeah.
Luddite. Like I'm actually the Luddite in my relationship comparatively. Comparatively,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it is interesting because I'm around college students,
Mhm.
and I don't know if you've seen, like, they're booing anytime at these commitments.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
The-
They're
yeah,
booing anytime AI is mentioned,
Yeah.
and I say, well, it's for me, it was AI should do it with you, not for you.
Mhm.
Like, we're still the ones that have to create.
Yeah.
Like, that's where the human part, you suck the soul out of something if you're not bringing your perspective to it. And so, again, like coming back to the app, it was like, I need this to solve this problem. And it was so that the human interactions. I actually just got an email this morning from a guy who said, hey, I love the app. It's helped me stay connected. And then he said, hey, here are some bugs. And you always get a little bit of that. And so you're like, yeah, tell me. I kind of haven't touched it in a bit, which is a little bit of a problem because that could be a full-time job.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm like, I just want to ship it, and then I probably need to hand it off to somebody else. But you can iterate and ship stuff, and speed kind of kills, like if you're not careful. But you can go from idea to iteration, at least, like you said, a minimum viable product pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But I've enjoyed it. I use it all the time. Yesterday, on the app, it popped up, and it reminded me that there's a lady who's a friend that she lost her mom 3 years ago. I would have never known that. I mean, you can have some calendar, and it popped up, and as a dad who's lost a son, back in 2005, I had a friend, and every year he texts me the day before Josiah. We lost Josiah. And it just, for whatever reason, the fact that it's the day before, it just does something. And so I remembered that, and I just texted her and said, hey, I know that you're thinking about your mom tomorrow. Just want you to know I'm with you. You know, Marie and I care for you, value your friendship. And that sort of thing means the world. I think that's what we lose when we get distracted. We lose that attentiveness to the story of the other people that are around us. And so we could talk about tech all day long, but that's why I built it. That's what I'm passionate about. It's like
Well, I think we talked a little before, but within the first 2 days of my using the app, I found out I texted one of my cousins. Mostly, I use the app to keep track of my cousins. And
funny.
and
how many cousins do we
friends.
have?
I mean, probably like 20.
Yeah.
But you know, it's like I love my cousins.
Yeah.
I want to keep that relationship. It's important to me. But then for most of them, what reason do I have other than their birthday to be like, hey?
That's right.
So having the app to say once a quarter.
That's right.
I want to just send a text and be like, I'm thinking about you. Hope you're doing well. One of them, his wife was going into surgery that day. So he thought I knew. He was like, thanks for checking in. It means a lot. I'm thinking like, oh, wow, I got credit even for something I didn't know.
That's hilarious.
And then it's like, then I know about it.
That's
I
great.
can follow up.
Yeah.
And then these were all cousins now. Two of my cousins, their wives were pregnant, and I had no idea.
Yeah.
One of them, everybody else in the family knew, and nobody told me. One of them, I was the first to know. And that was just because I sent a text just saying like, "Hey, thinking about you. Hope you're doing well." You know, and that I feel like was the powerful moment for me, and that these connections are just here waiting for you. Really, like. There's so much talk about, and I think this about actually like local business also. We watched old movies, old TV shows. We like romanticize that time, or I feel like a lot of teenagers, kids in college now are talking about the 90s, and I wish I like had that no tech thing. And it's like it's almost like there's a curtain. It's just behind the curtain.
Yeah. Like
all of these relationships were literally there waiting for me, and I just had to say like. Hey, hope you're doing well.
That's
like the most basic
just
thing.
You came to my mind today. Thought of you. And I think sometimes we get weird about it. Like, I don't really have a reason because we're so, it's got to have a utilitarian purpose. Like, what's the reason for, the reason is, man, you mean something to me.
Yeah.
You
and
know?
for me, that's who I put in the app are cousins and then friends from college. Like people who they really do mean a lot to me. I don't want to go 2 years. Like my roommate in college had a child and I didn't know. And it seemed so bizarre to me because we were close in college, but also after college. But it's like life does move really quickly, you know, and you don't, when you're not, unless you're following each other on social, but even that is, is you know about a certain segment of what's going on.
Right.
Or you know about people who are really active on social media.
Right.
And she's not,
Yeah.
you know, or I wasn't, somehow it wasn't in the algorithm, you know?
But that's what I meant when I said the proximity used to do the work. So if you change jobs, you're no longer in college. The proximity used to do the work.
Right.
This closes that gap. At least that's the intent of it.
Yeah.
So it's funny, like my mom pops up on the phone. I'm like, that's really not, for me anyway, I don't need something to tell. I love my mom. She's an incredible lady. I saw my dad on mine yesterday, the cards that you swipe on. I was like,
I didn't even put those people in there because that's like, again, I call my parents really often. I don't need a reminder, but I put the people in there that I'm like, I love them, and I don't remember to reach out, you know? So, yeah.
You're in contact with them all the time. Here's where I found that it started shining was when I got, because I probably have 800 or 900 in mine, which is just bonkers. And it's mainly
it's also pastoring and things like you're just connected to a lot of people in a very deep way, even though you didn't like have years or you're it's a quick. My dad's a pastor, so it's a.
I didn't know that.
Or not.
That's fun.
It has been.
Yeah. Like I said, I was a pastor. Then I was in film and television for 10 years. I'm like a cat. I've lived 9 different lives, and now I'm in higher education. And somehow our story all kind of works out, right? It is a bit of that. But it's more than just birthdays. Going back to social media, it's the because you're in marketing, so the perceived value is directly related to the cost of delivery. So I think that's a Seth Godin kind of ism. So the perceived value, if the cost of delivery is nothing, it's an email. The message is not very valuable. So I think it's the same thing. If I say happy birthday on Instagram or Facebook. I'm not on TikTok. I'm too old for TikTok. Snapchat. Get out of here, right? I'm on all the other ones, right? And I still refuse to call it X. It's Twitter. I can send something like that. So then you go, okay, I can have a text or a voice memo or now a video or how about just a phone call? We don't. I don't want to just cold call. You got to hey, can I call you in 5 minutes? Like who does that anymore? But those interactions, when you remove the technology, are more human.
Well, and it also means more, like if somebody says happy birthday on a social media that I know reminded them that it was my birthday, that's not a lot. Like, it's fine, thank you. But especially if it's only happy birthday. Right. It's like, I mean,
do a little bit more than that?
Sure. Yeah.
Could it have done a little bit more than that?
But when it is texting, it just means like, again, even though it's just an extra moment, it is that, you know, it's different.
People want to be known. And in our world, I think it's easy for us to not truly be known. Well, I mean, your cousin was pregnant or your cousin's wife was pregnant. It's like, man, that's a huge milestone in their life. Yeah. It's like to be able to check in, hey, you know, how are things going? Exactly. You know, I'm excited for you. That it's just a more human, like you now are connected to their story. Yeah. And I needed that. I wanted that. I mean, because these are people that you care about, you know. So you create an app that did it for me. Yeah. And pushed it out there.
Well, and I was excited about it because I had been trying to figure something out. So I had I'd already added birthdays and anniversaries or dates people lost somebody into Google Tasks, and I, you know,
so you cared enough to have some sort of system,
right? Yeah, but it was just the check-ins. I was like, how do you automate that? Right. Because am I just gonna go in every day and say like I'm gonna text Blaine every third month? Like, and that seems weird and clunky. Right. And I was like, maybe I should do a spreadsheet, and I just couldn't figure out how to do it, but it kept being on my list. Right. And then I saw your post and I was like, this sounds, and it really is exactly what I wanted.
That's great.
Where it's just, I already set the frequency and it's just like a manageable number every day. And I can be like, it's easy, swipe up, swipe down, wait until later. Guilt. Yeah. No or guilt. I just be like, I organically talked to them yesterday, so I can swipe through. You know, it's, and I really appreciated that. I think especially for somebody who is not UX, like a user experience designer, or it is really good UX. It's very easy, like for
Good.
people
That's great to
listening. You're just looking at it, and I forget which way it is, but it's like you can swipe up to
Right.
text them, maybe you can swipe down to
Skip it.
skip, or you can send it to like tomorrow or whatever, and then
It's
you can
basically
also
Tinder.
track.
You swipe. Is that is that swipe left or right? But it's like not as weird as Tinder.
Yeah, but is that? I mean, that makes sense. Where
Yeah,
you
yeah.
kind of like thinking of how those apps work when
Yeah.
you're thinking about organically. Where do people? But yeah, tell us
Yeah,
in
so
your words.
it is tend, and
Yeah.
the reason why I picked the name is because relationships are to be tended, not managed. That's I think for me it was the problem with all CRMs. Like it's the customer relationship management. I'm not trying to manage you in this, and I've actually had other people say, "What if we did this? And could you track this?" That's a CRM.
I know people are already in your LinkedIn like,
yeah, that's right.
I want to put my sales contacts, and you're like, no,
that's not what this is. This is for you to care for them, not for what you can get from them. So let's just right there. That was kind of a philosophical line that I wasn't going to cross because I didn't want to do that anyway. Again, I was solving the problem for me.
But you could make more money that way, or some
probably.
money. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't made. I mean,
I know.
I don't have a lot of money in it. I mean, you have some hosting and stuff like that,
yeah.
but it's not. I made the app for me, and I use it every day, and I'm thankful when I hear people like you that use it as well.
I'm joking, by the way. I don't think you should have done that. I'm just saying.
I know. But it nudges you. It's the whole no guilt. Hey, here's some names, and they're random. Sometimes what I love, especially when you start getting quite a few in there, it just surfaces 5 or 8 of these little cards, and you're like, oh. Yeah. There's Billy or whoever, and then you can say either no, I don't want to reach out, and you just swipe down, or swipe up and you reach out.
Yeah.
It does the special days, all that stuff. It's really just to care for people and bring them to your mind. It's out of sight, out of mind. The proximity is not doing the work, and so it just brings them to your mind. And then I have a lot of fun with it. It's got streaks. I'm a streak. I'm a nerd, so I'm on the chess app, and I'm like, I've got to do a chess puzzle today to keep my streak going, or if you're a Wordle, whatever.
Yeah.
So it's got streaks, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But it's all tending to the relationships. Relationships are cultivated, not managed. I think sometimes I was even teaching this in one of my classes with the students, and this is a little bit of a sidebar, but I think it factors into the human side of how technology can do that. We reach for machine language when we talk about the human experience. So if you think about, we say if somebody's broken, or they're a dysfunctional family, they are a functioning alcoholic. And I think the reason why we do that is because you actually remove the humanity from it. But the reality is, our world, we get wounds. Like, we get hurt, and wounds you have to tend to. People you tend to. And maybe that's the pastoral side coming out in me. But it's easy to try to, especially if you're in a counseling role, teacher role, whatever. I mean, your dad's a pastor. You want to fix, and it's like even in a spousal relationship, like stop trying to fix me. Stop trying to fix my problem. Okay, and even fix is machine language. And so I do think that there's something about tending to people. You sit with a wound. You sit with somebody that's hurting. And I think we need more of that in our world. I'm not trying to get too sappy here on the pod and try to cause you to cry or anything. But I think that I think that just reframes something for us.
Yeah.
That we tend to those relationships. We don't manage them. And that's kind of what the at least philosophical filter was for me.
Well, I love that. I think that's true. And I also think it's a different facet to why social media I think it's probably universally acknowledged it's not really had a positive impact on relationship in general.
Yeah.
In general. Because again, like we look at this way anyway, like it's machine terms. I think that's really fascinating.
Yeah.
And then you're interacting through a machine.
Yes.
Which fair enough, with Tend you also are, but a lot like it is actually more of that personal. Like the point is to make the personal connection.
Yeah.
The point is when I see my cousin at a wedding in person.
That's right.
I will have checked in and I know what's going on and we can have a deeper connection than if we just like hadn't spoken.
Right.
And I didn't know like his wife was pregnant, I think that's really the point. So it's almost like a leapfrog to get away from the machine, I guess.
A little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, you're seeing that. You mentioned it even with the younger generation, all the analog hobbies, they're knitting, they just want to throw a Frisbee. They don't, they're not, I mean, they're averse to it.
Yeah.
I think there's something that's a pushback on it.
I like that. I just want to throw a Frisbee.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, just something. Just get out. Go play in the woods. Get dirty. Do something.
It was, I was taking a walk with my husband. It started raining the other day. I was like, this feels so weird to just be out. I feel like a kid.
Yeah.
Because it's like, when am I walking in the rain?
Yeah.
It's like you're trying to avoid everything.
Right. Yeah.
I feel like we're going in a different direction. But let's talk about the piece of, did you do this as just like it sounds like it's more like I care about this. Were you thinking like I'm going to monetize this? Are you monetizing it?
Yeah, there's some subscriptions. It's like anything else. It's freemium. You get up to. I did want an app. Mm-hmm. I put a lot of time into it. Yeah. Of course, and then a lot of that was a learning curve too.
Right, but it is clear. It functions. It feels like I didn't know you vibe coded it until we talked. Right, so it functions as if it's like it is real and it functions like it's real.
Yeah, there's another version coming where the user interface looks a little bit you don't want a lot of bells and whistles. Mm-hmm. You want to keep it clean, let it do what it does. But I'll update it. There's some bugs and some things and some other features that people have asked for that are well in line with kind of what the goal is for the app. Like I said, I built it for myself, and then you're thinking, okay, well, this is actually a product. This is actually has value. Yeah. And so you don't want the cost of entry to be a barrier, but it's probably something that, and maybe I'm a little bit of an outlier because of the amount of money I spend on apps that solve a lot of problems. But I probably would pay $50 a year for at least the premium version. Yeah.
There's a free version.
There's a free version.
So if you want to try it out and see,
for sure. Yeah, up to I think it's 30 people, something like that. So that's a decent little. You can forget about certain people, 30 people. Yeah. And you get some groups and stuff like that. And so it's useful free. Yeah. The free version is for sure.
Well, and that's where I start. That's why I started with cousins in college. Like, it's because that was kind of like, well, I'm going to try the free version and see, do I keep up with this? Yeah. And it is, like, it does make it so doable. I also love that you can choose how often you want to connect. Is it like a month or a quarter? Or
so it's I want to say I should know this. Yeah. I made it. It's weekly, monthly, quarterly, and then annually. Yeah. So it's just because there's some people you don't. Yeah. But the frequency matters. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's what I also loved that because, again, most people, it's like a quarter-ish is, for me, like the people I'm using it for is kind of perfect. Right. And then there are some people, again, that I'm closer to and I want to make sure I'm like once a month or whatever. So that way it's just kind of serving that up.
To me, where it starts shining is when you do actually start using it. There's a little bit, like anything else, there's a little bit of a setup cost, not monetarily, but just the time investment to get it the way you want it to make it useful for you.
Still with the free version, I think it was like maybe 10 minutes. Yeah, it was not a long time.
No, it's not. It imports straight from your contacts. You want it to be pretty seamless. But so again, I've got a funeral I'm going to after this, and we keep talking about. But those are the things that mark us, and maybe. Having lost someone close, and I know a lot of the listeners probably have as well, but I had a friend of mine lost his dad yesterday. Wow. And so what it'll actually do is for the next 2 months, you can set it. Yeah. It serves his card up more. Yeah. So 2 weeks from now, I can say, hey, just thinking about you, thinking about your dad. Yeah. How you doing? Mm-hmm. What kind of week is it? That sort of thing. And then that kind of tapers off, and then it goes back to the quarterly or whatever frequency it would have been on. So there's a lot. It's very useful. Again, that's where I moved from the minimal, because I wanted to do this. And then it was just like I kept building and tinkering, and there's just like, okay, just that's enough. Just send it out there. Go be free. Yeah. Go fly, a little app.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I also think when I was trying to come up with a system for myself, I couldn't figure it out because it is like, it's a little variable like that. Yeah. So I think this is perfect. I want to talk a little bit more about the strategy and scoping of just that process, because I think that's what you're describing. Like, you have the idea, which, I think you're a little bit in this industry too. So I always am like, an idea for an app is, everyone has a million ideas. Yeah. Do you have a plan? That's a totally different thing. Right. So that planning stage, which again, like, if we were doing it professionally, is probably like strategy, scoping, all of that stuff. So you worked with Claude to do that, is that right? Or were you like having a conversation with them, or were you kind of with it, or were you just here's a long prompt. This is exactly what I want. What was that like?
The whole prompt engineering, I'm just going to speak. There are other people that are probably going to listen to the pod and go, this guy has no clue what he's doing. And you're right.
Yeah.
You are absolutely
it's vibe
right.
coding.
Yeah,
it's okay.
It's
We're
okay.
not supposed to know.
I will give it as much as I can.
Mm-hmm.
I start with an idea. I'm trying to solve this problem. Help me think through what would actually solve the problem. And you just have to start there.
Mm-hmm.
And then I basically send it, have it be like a markdown file. So that's where the scope comes in. That's where, what do I name it? What does it look like? What's the feel? Here's what I need it to do. If you're doing an app, and doing an app for the App Store is definitely different. And there are other ways to do it now with just pushing it to Vercel or something like that and just doing a web app. I mean, those are easy. And again, so much has changed even since I started in December. I think I pushed it in March, maybe, something like that. And then it's just kind of been out there.
Yeah.
And even now, Claude Design, like this was before it wouldn't even, you couldn't do the design first. It just kind of was what it was.
Well, I mean, December is like around when Cowork started, right? So like
Cowork,
the agents really came out in December. Claude Design wasn't around in December.
Yeah.
It's like, it is wild to think how.
Which is actually good news because you feel like you're behind, but the reality is, before any kind of technology, you would have to get up to speed. Well, now no one's up to speed because it's changing so quick. But I would say if you're a small business owner or you have an idea, start with the idea and let it be messy.
Yeah.
Sometimes on the way into work, I'll just voice record and I'll literally say, hey, this is a kickoff voice memo. And then I just brain dump. Here's an idea. Here's what I'm thinking about. Here's the problem I'm trying to solve. And, it'll be a 3 to 5 minute, just basically like you would have a kickoff for a project.
Yeah.
I'll transcribe it, dump it over into a chat, and then work with that. Really, and I'm speaking specifically about Anthropics, I live in Cowork. Yeah. Just my projects are in Cowork. You can use real files there's a lot of other tutorials out there. We don't need to do that on the pod today. But I have found it is so powerful what it can do now, and how you can connect all of the different things. But for the app, I just kept cooking and said, now I'm ready to build it. Yeah. So wrestle with the concept. What problem are you trying to solve? What do you want it to be? Wrestle with the content first.
And do you ask it to push back on you too?
Yes. Yeah, you kind of have to. I'm in a little bit of a sidebar, but it works for this as well. Because they're the whole goal is they're programmed to please you. Everybody, if you're using AI, it's just
hopefully,
like, you're the best thing in the world.
Yeah. Which I enjoy.
I need some affirmation in my life, right? I'm in a doctoral program right now, which why would I build an app while being in a doctoral program and a job training? It's just one of those things. It's just like, the kids are out of the house now, so it's a little bit different season. And I'm wrestling with this concept for my dissertation, and it was just saying, and it wasn't overdoing it, and it was probably about 90 minutes into just me wrestling with it as a thinking partner, not just think for me, but just like, well, what about this? Yeah. And it dawned on me, this is being way too affirming. And I literally typed, how much of this are you being a cheerleader because you're programmed to make me happy, and you want me to be happy? And it hit back about 70% cheerleader, 30%. And I said, and I literally said, don't do that. Yeah. I need you to poke holes in this. I mean, this is doctoral work. I can't just, throw stuff out there. Yeah. And it said, okay. And it just tore into it, and then it made me so angry. I was like, but you're not the one. And then now I'm just angry. And I'm just like going back. And then it said, it pushed back, and it says, I'm sorry for coming on too short. I said, no, don't do that. Don't cave now. Have a perspective. And so you do kind of have to train it. So I would push back, like, where's the friction in the UI? What am I not thinking? Because you have an idea and it makes sense, and you have all the context up here. You have all the passion up here. It's like any new endeavors, that sort of thing. But the people out there that are going to be using it, they don't have that story. They don't have all that baked in. And so, I definitely would have it push back on some things. Yeah. But again, that's where it's like AI in general, if you're going to use it, it is powerful, but it should do it with you, not for you. And so many people are just like, write this. And you can tell there's no soul in it. There's no heart in it. You're not actually editing it. You're not actually wrestling with the concepts. And so I would say wrestle with the concepts, and then you can say, turn this into whoever. Just like you said, you used to have developers. Turn this into a brief that I can give to a web developer, and I want all of it in here. And then you just click the tab, either code or even co-work now will do a lot of basic stuff.
Yeah. So then after you get it, you've got the code. What are the next steps? Like, how do you get it from Claude to App Store?
Yeah.
Or do you,
so
or
I
is
have
that
the code. I have the
you...
code. But I can tell you this. So the actual app, and I use a lot. I do a lot of other things, which we'll get to in a second, that may help some listeners. It's got 60,000 lines of code in it. I don't know that I've ever looked at any of it. So you got the code. It's just sitting there, and I had no clue how do I get up there. Then just ask it.
Yeah.
I mean, like, hey, what do I need? And it says it told me, oh, you're gonna have to have a database. I don't know. Yeah. Supabase has a free version, and you're not gonna max out that on the free version. Okay, so sign up on Supabase, and then. How am I going to host it? Netlify was what it said. Vercel is another one. And just host it. It's like, I don't know how to connect this stuff together. And it's like, okay. And it'll literally open up a terminal, and you just, again, I'm the one going, here's my social security number. I'm just like, authorize. You can, here's the keys to all of it. So if you're like in cybersecurity, you're probably breaking out into sweats right now if you're listening. But I'm like, sure. And it just pushes it. So now, once you get everything wired up, if you want the technical stack, it's from Claude Code, pushes it to GitHub, and then Netlify pulls from GitHub, and then it's connected to Supabase. And then all of that is wired into the App Store. So anytime I have a new version, you have to do some of the back-end stuff. But I'm 90% in Claude. I don't touch the other stuff once it's wired up. And now's not the time on the pod to do like a full step-by-step tutorial, but those are some of the in the stack. I think that's what it's called, a tech stack.
Yeah, it is.
I don't even
know. Well, and that's what that's similar to a podcast. Like I connect to Apple or Spotify once, and then I push out through an RSS feed, and it's already whatever. I think that makes sense. I think very security is also. I think it makes sense. Like when our clients come to us and when they talk about vibe coding, like that's a lot of what we talk about. And to me, it kind of depends on what are you looking for. I think you're saying, I want this app to connect primarily me. I also want to help other people. You're not taking, you are taking phone numbers, but as we all know, because we get a lot of calls, those are kind of out there.
It is all encrypted. That's the thing about using like Supabase. It's all of that stuff is encrypted. The data is safe, and all that's in the terms and all that stuff. And you have to, but even that can help. And you have a lawyer look it over and just, hey, scan this. Those sorts of things. You have to do your due diligence, especially if it starts growing. Which again, nobody's getting rich off of 10 plus, but it's solving a problem. But that was important to me too. Just the integrity of people's information, because it is phone numbers and it is names and stuff like that. But all that stuff is encrypted both ways.
But I think that's when we talk about pros and cons of vibe coding. Because it depends if you're a small business and you're like, this is a somewhat limited thing. Versus if you're Amazon and vibe coding an app, that's probably going to be a lot more problematic because there are security things. So those are, I think, whether or not it makes sense to vibe code, I think it's somewhat is like the level of like, what are you doing? What kind of information are you taking? You're not taking financial information. And so I think that's where some of that
it's still coding.
Is.
It's just like you said, it's not a human, and you could turn it over to a
that's
dev
the thing.
team.
You can also, there are plenty of people, there are plenty of app developers who also will code something that has vulnerabilities. It isn't like humans don't also
if you tell it what you need. I need this. It'll walk you through it. I mean, it helped me wire everything up. One of the things I've started doing even at the school is not even doing pitch decks anymore. You can say, hey, here's an idea. Here's all my content, and then doing just a little microsite. It's as quick to output in an interactive HTML than it is, because if you do a pitch deck, it's like you're being pitched to.
That's interesting,
So like it's a little bit like there's a friction when we're pushed, we push back. And so a lot of time I'm an idea guy. Almost to a fault. And so instead of saying, hey, here's my idea, wrestle, flesh out the idea, and then instead of saying, hey, I want to pitch you, what I've started doing actually is saying, spend 30 minutes with this microsite. And what it does is it lowers the resistance when we feel like we're being pitched.
Yeah.
And now I can click on what I want, and it's just a one-pager.
Yeah.
In 90 seconds, it'll wire up a decent-looking, hey, here's a strategic memo.
Yeah.
And it's not even, just a white sheet. It's like, I can click here, and I can see what this does, and then this pops up, and this links to here, and it's just more interactive.
Well, and I think that the
engaging.
differentiator is what you talked about, is like really thinking it through yourself and having those ideas come from you. And sure, like you're asking AI to push back.
Right.
But I think when I see it done well and badly, the difference is, was the idea yours? Did you have the concept? Did you think through it?
Right.
Or did you just say, like, I want a website that is, like it's a few sentence prompt. You're not going to get something very good.
You got to work with it. I mean, you got to have a perspective. You got to say, no, I don't like that. Yes, I like that. But again, it's a partner.
Yeah.
The idea, the content still has to be quality, because people can, and the M dashes. I used to use M dashes. I love M dashes. They're great. Now you can't use them because everybody's like, AI wrote that. It's like, no, I just like M dashes. But now I've actually
well,
don't
it's
use
funny
M dashes.
because I was originally using semicolons.
Okay.
But then I switched to copywriting, like writing for the public, basically.
Right.
And semicolons are really stuffy.
Right.
So I switched to M dashes because it is like the grammar rules around it are more fuzzy, so you can use it in more cases and it's more conversational. But so now I'm back to not using M dashes, and so now I'm back to the semicolon, which is where I wanted to be in the first place.
Circle.
Yeah. I was also using, really recently, I was getting a brand voice guide for Carrie Rollwagen.
Right. Yep.
And uploaded a bunch of stuff, and it was like, here's what I'm seeing in your writing.
Great.
And it said, like, you use M dashes a lot. I was like, well, that's because a lot of this is old because of AI. Right. I was having to tell AI, because of AI, I can't use that.
Right.
So give me all the sections where I used M dashes, and I will rewrite them the way I would rewrite them today.
Yeah.
So it's just like, it's a
full circle.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we've got to stop at some point, because I would love to go on forever.
What I loved is last episode, I want to say your guest said that she was the most prepared. My goal was to do the opposite. Oh, yeah. And so by the time this all gets edited, this may be the shortest pod you've ever had.
I think you're talking about Hattie.
Yeah.
Well, because she also listened to podcasts that I've been on.
Right.
So she heard all the...
That was a great episode.
Yeah. Well, also, you and I knew each other a little bit before. So, Hattie's amazing. So we'll link to her episode in the show notes, too.
That's great.
So tell people, do you want them to connect with you on Instagram or LinkedIn? And then also how to get the app?
Yeah, because I haven't really just marketed it. I built it for me and then just put some stuff out there, and I will pick that back up when things slow down again. I'm in a doctoral, you know how it is. You got all that other stuff.
But
I think it can be. I think it's a value add, and I do think it could. God, this is going to sound so cheesy, but I believe it, so I'm just going to say it. I do think that sort of thing, whether it's Tinned Plus, the little app that I made, or other apps like it, we have to have that from the human element, right? And so I do think it could help make the world a better place. I know that sounds silly, but it's true, that human connection. And so I'll pick it back up and try to market it, not even just for the monetization of it, although that I wouldn't hate that, but it has a value. So I'll probably pick that back up later this year and really push. I'm thankful for an opportunity like this. But I say all that to say tinnedplus.app is the website, and you can put all this in the show notes. But I'm on Instagram, Facebook. I write on Substack. Truth and Wonder is the name of it.
Yeah, you have a huge, honestly, hugely popular Substack too.
Yeah, it's fun. That's part of that. I do think writing is in my future, like in terms of like a book, which I'm going to hit you up on your book. And you're like, what was your process? Yeah.
Awesome. And for people listening, if they're looking in the App Store, it's Tend and then the plus sign.
Yes.
And it's like a green, sage green. Yes. Is that right? Okay.
Yeah. It's a little, it's just a plus sign green.
Yeah.
I'm colorblind.
Oh, well.
I know.
Yeah, it works. You're actually like matching.
My brown jacket on today. It's green.
So and again, we'll put, like you said, we'll put all this in the show notes. Great. But thank you so much for coming on.
It was fun. Thanks, Carrie.
If you enjoyed this episode of The Localist and you want to join us in person, I would love to see you at our Localist Lab events. So these are every third Thursday at Saturn in Avondale. We have free breakfast tacos from our sponsor, Ladybird Tacos. We have free June coffee. And I bring in experts from Infomedia and our sister companies, Uptick and Tempo. And we really share very specific marketing skills that small business owners need to know. I would love to see you there. The Localist is written and produced by me, Carrie Rollwagen. Our showrunner is Taylor Davis. Our outreach manager is Hannah Cragen. And our sound engineer in the room with us today is Aaron Duncan. Thanks to Infomedia for sponsoring the show and making everything we do here possible. We also record right here at the Infomedia studios. So if you're interested in doing your own podcast or social media clips, we would love to help. But until next time, whether you're buying from a small business or running one, thanks for everything you do every day to make our communities even stronger.